The information presented in this video regarding upcoming 2026 vehicle models, specifications, and release dates is based on current industry intelligence, manufacturer announcements, and historical automotive trends. All details, including pricing, performance metrics, and availability, are subject to change by the manufacturers without notice. This content is intended for educational and entertainment purposes only and does not constitute professional automotive, financial, or investment advice. While we strive for accuracy, the rapidly evolving nature of the automotive market means that final production versions may differ from initial concepts. Viewers are strongly encouraged to conduct their own independent research and consult with certified dealership representatives or financial professionals before making any purchasing or investment decisions. The internal combustion engine, the very heart of American mobility for over a century, has officially entered its twilight era, and 2026 is the year the transition becomes an all-out war for your driveway. Right now, there is a massive trillion-dollar gamble happening behind the closed doors of Detroit, Stuttgart, and Tokyo. If you think the current shift to electric vehicles has been volatile, you haven't seen anything yet. In 2026, we are witnessing the arrival of Generation 2 EVs, cars designed from the ground up to fix every single complaint you've ever had about range, charging speeds, and soul-crushing software bugs. But here is the controversial truth that most car reviewers are too afraid to tell you. Half of the high-tech features being promised for these 2026 models might be obsolete before the ink on your lease agreement is even dry. We are entering a period of rapid technological depreciation, where the difference between buying the right 2026 model and the wrong one could cost you tens of thousands of dollars in resale value. Today, we are opening the hood on the most secretive projects in the industry, from the long-awaited return of iconic nameplates to the radical new battery architectures that are set to make current Teslas look like flip phones. If you are planning on buying a car in the next 24 months, you are standing at the edge of a cliff. By the end of this deep dive, you will know exactly which 2026 models are genuine game-changers and which ones are just expensive experiments. The American consumer is currently facing a massive dilemma: the rising cost of vehicle ownership versus the accelerating pace of innovation. For years, the wait-and-see approach was the safe bet for anyone skeptical of new tech. However, that window is closing. In 2026, several legacy manufacturers are reaching their point of no return, where they will no longer offer gasoline-powered versions of their most popular flagship models. This creates a massive problem for the average buyer. If you buy a traditional gas car in 2026, will it be a forever classic or an unsellable relic? Conversely, if you jump into a 2026 Electron Volt, are you getting a refined product or are you still a glorified beta tester for a brand's software department? This video solves that problem by providing a comprehensive, data-driven analysis of the U.S. automotive landscape for the 2026 model year. We are moving past the marketing hype and looking at the actual engineering milestones, the real-world charging infrastructure improvements, and the shifting manufacturing domesticity that affects your federal tax credits. To understand the 2026 market, we have to look at the massive shift in platform architecture. For the last few years, many of the electric cars you've seen on the road were built on multi-energy platforms. This means the manufacturer tried to cram batteries and electric motors into a frame originally designed to hold a gas engine and a transmission tunnel. This resulted in compromises, less interior space, awkward weight distribution, and inefficient packaging. In 2026, the dedicated EV platform becomes the standard. We are looking at vehicles built on the next iteration of the eGMP architecture from Hyundai and Kia, the expansion of GM's Ultium line, and the highly anticipated debut of BMW's new E-Class. These aren't just new car bodies, they are entirely new ways of thinking about what a car is. We are moving towards software-defined vehicles, where the hardware, the wheels, the motors, the seats, is secondary to the operating system that controls it. Take, for example, the projected 2026 Scout Motors lineup. For the first time in decades, an American icon is being resurrected specifically to challenge the dominance of the Rivian R1T and the Ford F-150 Lightning. This isn't just a nostalgia play. Volkswagen, which owns the Scout brand, is pouring billions into a dedicated manufacturing facility in South Carolina. The 2026 Scout SUV and truck represent a pivotal moment for the U.S. market because they are designed to bridge the gap between rugged, old-school off-road capability and futuristic digital integration. We've seen historical trends where revived nameplates like the Ford Bronco or the Land Rover Defender can completely disrupt a segment. The Scout is aiming to do that by offering mechanical honesty, real knobs and switches, paired with a state-of-the-art electric powertrain. This addresses a specific pain point for American buyers, the iPad on wheels fatigue. Furthermore, we need to talk about the 800-volt revolution. Up until now, most affordable EVs have operated on 400-volt systems. This is why it can take 45 minutes to an hour to get a meaningful charge at a public station. In 2026, the 800-volt architecture, which was previously reserved for high-end luxury cars like the Porsche Taycan or the Audi e-tron GT, is trickling down into mainstream SUVs and sedans. This means 10 to 80% charge times are dropping to under 18 minutes. For the US consumer, this is the single most important metric for mass adoption. If you can charge your car in the time it takes to grab a coffee and use the restroom, the range anxiety argument begins to evaporate. We will be analyzing how brands like Toyota and Honda, who have been notoriously slow to the EV party, are planning to use 2026 as their catch-up year with solid-state battery prototypes and new collaborative platforms. But it's not just about electricity. The 2026 model year also marks a fascinating last stand for high-performance internal combustion engines. We are seeing several manufacturers release final edition variants of their legendary V8 and V6 power plants. For collectors and enthusiasts, 2026 might be the last opportunity to purchase a brand new vehicle that prioritizes mechanical soul over digital efficiency. We will examine the potential outcomes for these high-performance models in the secondary market. Case studies of previous end-of-run models suggest that the 2026 versions of certain sports cars could become instant modern classics, holding their value far better than their early adoption electric counterparts. The U.S. market in 2026 is also being shaped by the Inflation Reduction Act and its evolving requirements for domestic sourcing. This has forced global automakers to shift their entire supply chains to North America. When we look at the 2026 models, we aren't just looking at where they are assembled, but where the lithium is mined and where the battery cells are manufactured. This has a direct impact on your wallet. A $7,500 tax credit is a massive factor in the total cost of ownership equation. We will break down which specific 2026 models are projected to qualify for the full credit, which ones only get half, and which ones are left out entirely due to their international supply chains. Throughout this 10-part masterclass, we are going to categorize these vehicles into the segments that matter most to you. We will look at the commuter champions, the budget-friendly models aiming for that elusive $25,000 to $30,000 price point. We will dive into the family haulers, the three-row SUVs that are finally getting the range and space they need to replace the traditional minivan. We will explore the workhorses, the 2026 pickups that are focusing on towing range and job site power exports. And finally, we will look at the halo cars, the high-performance machines that push the boundaries of what is physically possible on four wheels. This is more than just a list of cars. It is a roadmap for the next decade of American transportation. We are looking at the step-by-step evolution of the automotive industry, and by the end of this series, you will have the knowledge to navigate the most complex car market in history with total confidence. Imagine a typical Saturday morning in the year 2026. You are standing in your driveway, looking at a vehicle that looks nothing like the boxy, gas-guzzling SUVs of the last decade. This is the year the American automotive landscape undergoes its most radical transformation since the introduction of the assembly line. We are moving away from the era of compromise. In 2026, the midsize SUV segment, which accounts for nearly half of all vehicle sales in the United States, is being completely rewritten by a wave of new models that prioritize efficiency without sacrificing the rugged capability Americans demand. Consider the case of the 2026 Toyota CHR. Historically, the CHR was a quirky front-wheel drive subcompact that struggled to find its footing in a market obsessed with all-wheel drive and towing capacity. Toyota discontinued it in 2022, but for 2026, it is returning as a pure electric disruptor. This isn't just a refresh. It is a strategic strike at the heart of the budget EV market. While the previous version was often criticized for being underpowered, the 2026 electric CHR is projected to deliver 338 horsepower from a dual-motor all-wheel drive system. Data suggests a starting price point of approximately $30,000, which positions it directly against the Chevrolet Bolt and the Nissan Leaf. For the average American commuter, this represents a massive shift in value. You are no longer paying a premium for electric technology. You are getting a vehicle that is faster, quieter and cheaper to maintain than its gasoline-powered predecessors. The inclusion of the North American Charging Standard, or NACS port, as a native feature means that this Toyota can pull into any Tesla supercharger station across the country without needing a clunky adapter. This is a perfect example of how the 2026 models are solving the infrastructure friction that held back earlier adopters. Now, imagine if you need more than just a commuter. Imagine you are a parent with 3 children and a weekend hobby that requires towing a small boat or a pair of jet skis. In the past, this meant buying a massive, expensive full-size SUV like a Tahoe or an Expedition. However, the 2026 Kia EV9 GT is changing that narrative. We have seen historical trends where performance versions of family cars were just about aesthetics, maybe some red stitching and larger wheels. But the EV9 GT is a different animal. It is a 3-row family hauler that produces 501 horsepower. This vehicle can move 6 people from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.3 seconds. That is faster than many dedicated sports cars from just 5 years ago. Beyond the raw speed, the 2026 EV9 GT introduces an electronically controlled suspension system that adjusts damping in real time. This means that during the week, it is a soft, comfortable cruiser for the school run, but on the weekend, it can handle a winding mountain pass with the composure of a performance sedan. This versatility is the hallmark of the 2026 model year. We also have to look at the legacy giants who are refusing to be left behind. Ford is making a massive play for the off-road enthusiast with the 2026 Explorer Tremor. For decades, the Explorer has been the gold standard for suburban families. In 2026, Ford is leaning into the overlanding trend by giving the Explorer a factory-lifted suspension, a limited-slip rear differential, and chunky all-terrain tires. This is a direct response to a shift in consumer behavior. More Americans than ever are looking for vehicles that can handle a rugged trail on Saturday, but still fit in a standard garage on Monday. The 2026 Explorer Tremor represents a middle ground. It keeps the 400 horsepower turbocharged V6 for those who aren't ready to go fully electric, proving that the internal combustion engine still has a place in the high-performance adventure segment. But what about the luxury tier? This is where the 2026 Lucid Gravity enters the conversation. If the Tesla Model X was the first generation of luxury electric SUVs, the Lucid Gravity is the sophisticated second generation. It offers an EPA-estimated range of up to 450 miles. To put that in perspective, that is the distance from Los Angeles to San Francisco on a single charge with miles to spare. The Gravity solves the space problem that has plagued electric SUVs. Because it is built on a dedicated EV platform, the interior floor is completely flat, allowing for more legroom than a long-wheelbase luxury sedan. It features a 34-inch curved 6K OLED display that floats above the dashboard. This isn't just about luxury. It is about a human-centric user experience. In 2026, the technology in your car is becoming as intuitive as the technology in your pocket. However, we must address the potential outcomes of this rapid technological advancement. As we see with the debut of the BMW 9/3, the first of the new E-Class models, cars are becoming software-defined vehicles. The 2026 9/3 uses an AI-powered personal assistant integrated with Amazon Alexa Plus. This allows for natural, multi-turn conversations where you can ask your car to find a charging station, adjust the climate, and tell you the score of the game in a single sentence. But this level of integration raises questions about long-term software support. Just as historical trends in the smartphone industry showed that older hardware eventually struggles with new software updates, the 2026 car buyer must consider the digital longevity of their purchase. Are you buying a vehicle that will receive over-the-air updates for the next 10 years? Or are you buying a digital dead end? This brings us to the most anticipated arrival of 2026, the Rivian R2. Rivian has already established itself as a premium brand with the R1T and R1S, but those vehicles were priced out of reach for the average family. The 2026 R2 is the midsize SUV designed to change that. With a starting price targeted at $45,000, the R2 is aimed squarely at the Tesla Model Y. It features a unique flipper glass rear window that allows you to carry long items like surfboards or lumber without having the entire tailgate open. It also features a sustainable interior made from materials like cork, catering to the growing demographic of environmentally conscious buyers who want luxury without the traditional leather and wood aesthetic. As we move through the 2026 model year, we are seeing a clear divide in the market. On one side, you have the high-tech, high-performance EVs like the Lucid Gravity and the Kia EV9 GT. On the other side, you have the refined, adventure-ready gas and hybrid models like the Ford Explorer Tremor and the new Honda Prelude Hybrid Coupe. The 2026 year is providing Americans with more choices than they have had in decades. But those choices come with new complexities. You have to navigate tax credit eligibility, charging standards, and the rapid evolution of autonomous driving features. In 2026, the question is no longer whether you should buy an electric car or a gas car. The question is which platform best fits your specific use case. Are you looking for the 800-volt fast charging that can add 200 miles of range in 11 minutes? Or do you need the raw towing power and long-range reliability of a refined hybrid system? The 2026 models are designed to answer these questions with specialized engineering, rather than one-size-fits-all solutions. We are seeing a massive investment in American manufacturing, with brands like Scout Motors and Rivian building state-of-the-art facilities on U.S. soil to ensure their vehicles meet the requirements for federal incentives. This SUV and crossover revolution is just the tip of the iceberg for 2026. While the family haulers are getting smarter and faster, there is another battle brewing in a segment that defines the American identity more than any other. I'm talking about the trucks. In 2026, the pickup truck market is about to hit a massive crossroads where high-tech utility meets old-school grit. We are talking about 400-mile ranges, onboard generators that can power your entire house during a blackout, and the return of a legendary American nameplate that has been dormant for 40 years. But before we get to the heavy haulers, there is a shocking development in the world of high-performance sports cars that no one saw coming for 2026. A certain legendary badge is about to release a model that defies the laws of physics, and it might be the last of its kind. Do you know which iconic American supercar is going hybrid to achieve over 1,000 horsepower? And more importantly, which 2026 truck is being called the most capable off-roader ever built? We are diving into the 2026 truck wars and the future of American performance in the next part. The 2026 model year is not just a calendar change. For many American enthusiasts, it is a moment of mechanical reckoning. Imagine a buyer named Marcus. Marcus has spent 20 years driving traditional V8 pickup trucks in Texas. For him, a vehicle is a tool, a sanctuary, and a statement of independence. In 2026, Marcus is walking into a dealership and seeing something that would have sounded like science fiction 5 years ago. An American supercar with over 1,000 horsepower that can also drive in complete silence. This is the 2026 Chevrolet Corvette ZR1X, often referred to by the internal project name Zora. This vehicle is a masterclass in hybrid engineering. It utilizes a 5.5-liter twin-turbocharged V8 engine on the rear axle and an advanced electric drive unit on the front. The result is a combined output of 1,250 horsepower. This is not just a fast car. This is a vehicle that has recently been recorded lapping the Nürburgring faster than multi-million-dollar European hypercars. When we look at the historical trends of the Corvette, it has always been the attainable performance icon. However, the 2026 ZR1X pushes the brand into a new stratosphere. With an MSRP starting around $207,395, it is the most expensive Corvette ever made. Yet it offers performance metrics that match the Ferrari F80 and the McLaren W1. For the first time, an American production car is capable of a 0-60 sprint in under 2 seconds. Step by step, the ZR1X achieves this through its AWD system. During a launch, the electric front motor provides instant torque to prevent wheel spin, while the twin turbos on the V8 spool up to provide a relentless surge of power. The car even features a stealth mode, allowing owners like Marcus to leave their neighborhood on 100% electric power for up to 5 miles before the internal combustion engine screams to life. This is the 2026 compromise. You get the soul of a V8 with the surgical precision of an electric motor. But the real battle for the American heart is happening in the dirt. 2026 marks the official resurrection of Scout Motors. After nearly 40 years of dormancy, the brand is returning with the 2026 Scout Traveler SUV and the Scout Terra pickup truck. For a buyer like Marcus, the Scout represents something deeply nostalgic but technologically superior. The 2026 Scout models are being built at a brand new $2 billion facility in South Carolina, and they are tackling the range anxiety issue with a unique engineering solution called the Harvester. While the base models are fully electric with roughly 350 miles of range, the Harvester variant uses an integrated small gasoline generator that acts as a range extender. It does not power the wheels directly. Instead, it recharges the battery on the fly, pushing the total range to over 500 miles. This is a critical case study in how manufacturers are adapting to the U.S. geography. In vast states like Montana or Texas, a 300-mile electric range is often cited as a deal-breaker. By offering a range extender, Scout is providing a potential outcome where the driver gets the benefits of electric torque, specifically the 3.5-second 0 to 60 time, and the ability to tow 10,000 pounds, without the fear of being stranded between charging stations. The interior of the 2026 Scout is another masterclass in design. It rejects the trend of minimalist, screen-heavy dashboards in favor of tactile switches and mechanical door handles. This analog-digital blend is a direct response to consumer feedback demanding that a truck should feel like a truck, even if it runs on electrons. While Scout focuses on rugged nostalgia, Rivian is doubling down on the performance hatchback niche with the 2026 Rivian R3X. If the R1S was the flagship, the R3X is the disruptor. It is smaller, more athletic, and designed for a younger demographic that wants a vehicle that can handle a commute in San Francisco and a weekend at Lake Tahoe with equal ease. The R3X features a tri-motor setup, one in the front and two in the rear, allowing for advanced torque vectoring. This means the car can send power to each individual rear wheel independently to help it pivot through tight corners. It is the spiritual successor to the classic rally cars of the 1980s, but reimagined for 2026. Data suggests the R3X will offer over 300 miles of range using the new 4695 battery cells, which provide higher energy density and faster charging than current generation packs. However, the most significant shift for the average American truck buyer in 2026 is the arrival of the Ram 1500 Ramcharger. This is not just another electric truck. The Ramcharger is the world's first ever range-extended full-size electric pickup. It features a massive 92 kilowatt-hour battery pack paired with a 3.6-liter V6 engine that serves exclusively as an onboard generator. Imagine Marcus needs to tow a heavy trailer across 3 states. In a traditional electric truck, towing can cut the range in half, leading to frequent and long charging stops. With the 2026 Ramcharger, Marcus has a total driving range of up to 690 miles. He can drive the first 145 miles on pure electricity, and then the V6 engine kicks in to keep the battery level steady. It can tow 14,000 pounds and has a maximum payload of 2,625 pounds, which are best-in-class figures for the 2026 model year. The technology inside the Ramcharger is equally staggering. It boasts over 50 inches of combined digital displays, including a dedicated screen for the front passenger that can stream movies or assist with navigation. But more importantly, it features bidirectional charging. In the event of a power outage at Marcus's home, the Ramcharger can act as a mobile power plant, providing up to 7.2 kilowatts of exportable power through the bed outlets. This level of utility is what is driving the 2026 market. The vehicle is no longer just a mode of transport, it is a tool for resilience. Not to be outdone, Ford is preparing its Project T3 for a late 2026 debut. Ford CEO Jim Farley has described this next-generation electric truck as the Millennium Falcon with a back porch. Built at the massive Blue Oval City campus in Tennessee, Project T3 is designed from a clean sheet of paper to be the most aerodynamic truck ever built. The goal for 2026 is a truck that is fully software updatable, meaning the vehicle can literally get more efficient or gain new towing features while it sits in your driveway. Historical trends show that Ford's ability to scale production is their greatest strength, and with a capacity to build 500,000 of these trucks a year, 2026 could be the year the electric truck truly goes mainstream. As we look at these models, from the 1,250 horsepower Corvette to the 690-mile range Ramcharger, a clear theme emerges for the 2026 model year: the end of range anxiety through engineering diversity. Manufacturers are no longer forcing a single all-electric solution on a diverse American public. Instead, they are offering a buffet of powertrains, BEVs, EREVs, and high-output hybrids, each tailored to specific lifestyles. The 2026 market is about choosing the technology that solves your specific problems, whether that is the need for speed, the need for towing, or the need for off-road adventure. But while these high-end trucks and supercars are grabbing the headlines, there is a massive shift happening at the other end of the spectrum. Most Americans aren't looking for a $200,000 Corvette or a $100,000 truck. They are looking for the people's car of 2026. There is a new wave of ultra-affordable electric and hybrid compacts hitting the US shores, and some of them are coming from brands you've never heard of. In the next part, we are going deep into the battle for the entry level, where the sub-$30,000 market is being reinvented by a new 2026 Volkswagen and a surprising move from the Japanese giants. We will see which cars are actually affordable and which ones are just clever marketing. We are also going to look at the hidden 2026 sedans that are proving the four-door car isn't dead yet. They've just been waiting for a serious upgrade. Do you know which 2026 sedan is promising to be the first Level 3 autonomous vehicle for the masses? That story is coming up next. While the high-performance trucks and million-dollar supercars dominate the headlines, the real story of 2026 is happening in the segment that actually moves the majority of Americans. For years, the affordable car market felt like a forgotten wasteland, with manufacturers axing small sedans and hatchbacks in favor of high-margin luxury SUVs. But in 2026, we are witnessing a massive correction. Imagine a young professional named Sarah. Sarah is looking for a vehicle that is environmentally responsible, technologically advanced, and most importantly, fits within a $30,000 budget. In 2021, her options would have been limited and compromised. In 2026, she is facing a surplus of choices that challenge the historical trends of what an entry-level car can be. The most shocking transformation of the year belongs to the 2026 Nissan Leaf. For over a decade, the Leaf was the quirky hatchback that helped pioneer the modern EV movement, but it eventually fell behind due to its air-cooled battery and outdated charging standards. In 2026, Nissan has completely reinvented the Leaf, shifting it from a low-slung hatchback to a sleek, modern compact crossover. This is a strategic move to align with American consumer preferences. The 2026 Leaf S Plus carries a starting MSRP of $29,990, making it the most affordable new electric vehicle in the United States. But here is the data that changes the conversation. While previous budget EVs often forced you to accept a range of 150 miles or less, the 2026 Leaf S Plus offers an EPA estimated range of 303 miles. This is achieved through a new 75 kilowatt-hour battery pack that finally utilizes liquid cooling, ensuring the battery stays at an optimal temperature during the scorching summers of Arizona or the freezing winters of Michigan. Step by step, Nissan has addressed every pain point of the previous generation. It now features a native NACS port, allowing Sarah to access the Tesla supercharger network without an adapter, and the interior has been upgraded with the 12.3-inch touchscreen and Nissan's ProPilot Assist 2.0. This is a potential outcome where the cheap car no longer feels like a penalty box. However, 2026 is also the year of the unexpected revival. For enthusiasts who thought the era of the affordable sports coupe was dead, the 2026 Honda Prelude Hybrid is a revelation. Honda has brought back this iconic nameplate not as a gas-guzzling racer, but as a sophisticated, fuel-efficient grand tourer. The 2026 Prelude utilizes a specialized version of Honda's two-motor hybrid system, combining a 2.0-liter Atkinson cycle engine with high-output electric motors to produce 200 horsepower and 232 pound-feet of torque. But the real story is in the chassis. Honda has taken a page out of the Civic Type R playbook, equipping the Prelude with a dual-axis strut front suspension and 4-piston Brembo brakes. For a driver like Sarah, this means a car that achieves an incredible 44 miles per gallon combined while still offering the sharp, engaging handling of a dedicated performance machine. It even debuts the Honda S Plus Shift Mode, which uses software to simulate the physical sensation of gear changes, bridging the gap between the efficiency of a CVT and the emotional engagement of a manual transmission. Then we have the stalwarts of the American driveway, like the 2026 Mazda CX-5. The CX-5 has been Mazda's best-selling vehicle for years, and for 2026, it receives its most significant redesign yet. While many competitors are going all-electric, Mazda is taking a more measured approach. The 2026 CX-5 launches with a refined version of the 2.5-liter Skyactiv G engine, producing 187 horsepower. Mazda has focused on improving the human-machine interface, replacing the controversial rotary knob controller with a massive 15.6-inch touchscreen that features Google built-in. This means Sarah can use Google Maps, Spotify, and even Google Gemini as a voice assistant natively within the car's ecosystem. The 2026 model is also nearly 5 inches longer than its predecessor, specifically targeting a common complaint regarding rear seat legroom. While a dedicated hybrid version is slated for the 2027 model year, the 2026 CX-5 remains a case study in how to refine a gasoline-powered vehicle to meet modern expectations of luxury and space at a $31,000 starting price. But the most advanced leap in the 2026 entry-luxury segment comes from Germany. The 2026 Mercedes-Benz CLA is more than just a new sedan. It is a rolling laboratory for the future of autonomous driving. Built on the brand-new Mercedes Modular Architecture, or MMA, the CLA is designed as an electric-first vehicle. It features an 800-volt electrical system, which is a massive technological upgrade for this price point. In practical terms, this allows the CLA to add 200 miles of range in just 10 minutes at a DC fast charger. But the headline feature for 2026 is the Drive Pilot system. Mercedes is aiming to make the 2026 CLA the first vehicle in its class to offer Level 3 autonomous driving on U.S. highways. This means that under specific conditions such as heavy traffic on pre-mapped interstates, the car can take full control of the steering, braking, and acceleration, allowing Sarah to legally take her eyes off the road and hands off the wheel to interact with the MBUX superscreen. Historical trends in the luxury market show that technology usually starts at the top-tier S-Class and takes a decade to reach the entry-level models. In 2026, that cycle has been compressed to just 3 years. We are also seeing the continued dominance of the hybrid king. The 2026 Toyota Prius and Prius Prime enter the year with new Nightshade Edition trims, but the real value lies in the performance metrics. The 2026 Prius Prime plug-in hybrid offers up to 44 miles of pure electric range before the gas engine ever turns on. For a commuter like Sarah, this effectively turns the car into an EV for 90% of her daily driving, with the 600-mile total range of a hybrid for long road trips. The 2026 model year has seen Toyota refine the software to be even more predictive, using GPS data to determine when to use electric power versus gasoline power, based on upcoming hills or traffic congestion. This is the hidden engineering that makes the 2026 models significantly more efficient than vehicles from just 24 months ago. As we analyze these 2026 models, from the sub-$30,000 Nissan Leaf to the tech-heavy Mercedes CLA, a clear pattern emerges. The 2026 model year is defined by value density. Manufacturers are packing more range, more processing power, and better materials into vehicles at lower price points than we have seen in the previous 5 years. This is a direct response to the economic pressures facing the American consumer and the intense competition from new market entrants. Whether you are looking for the nostalgic thrill of the Prelude or the futuristic autonomy of the CLA, 2026 is the year where the attainable car finally caught up to the aspirational car. But as the entry-level market heats up, the high-end luxury brands are being forced to reinvent themselves to stay ahead. If a $30,000 Nissan can get 300 miles of range and a $50,000 Mercedes can drive itself on the highway, what does the next generation of $100,000 luxury sedans have to offer? We are about to look at the executive evolution of 2026. I am talking about the radical new Cadillac Celestiq variants, the redesigned Tesla Model S that finally addresses the interior quality concerns, and a new ultra-luxury SUV from a brand that has never built an SUV in its 100-year history. And there is one more thing. While the cars we've discussed so far are impressive, there is a secret project coming out of South Korea for 2026 that might actually be the most important car of the decade. It is a vehicle that claims to have solved the solid-state battery puzzle for mass production. If the rumors are true, this car could change everything we know about charging and battery life. We are diving into the 2026 luxury and tech flagships in the next part. In the realm of 2026 automotive excellence, we have moved beyond simple utility and into a world where the vehicle is a bespoke extension of your living space. Imagine a high-net-worth executive named David. For David, a car is not just a way to get from a penthouse in Manhattan to a summer home in the Hamptons. It is a mobile boardroom, a private cinema, and a statement of technological supremacy. This is the market occupied by the 2026 Cadillac Celestiq. This is not a car you simply buy off a lot. It is a hand-assembled masterpiece with a starting price of roughly $350,000. Historical trends in the ultra-luxury segment suggest that buyers at this level demand complete exclusivity, and Cadillac is delivering by limiting production to just a few hundred units per year. The Celestiq is built on a specialized version of the Ultium platform, but every detail is pushed to the extreme. Step by step, the commissioning process for a 2026 Celestiq involves a personal concierge who guides the buyer through thousands of material and color combinations. Inside, the dashboard is dominated by a 55-inch diagonal advanced curved LED display that spans the entire width of the cabin. But the real 2026 innovation is the smart glass roof. Using suspended particle device technology, the roof is divided into 4 zones, allowing each passenger to independently adjust the level of transparency above their head. If David wants a clear view of the sky while his passenger prefers total shade to work on a laptop, the 2026 Celestiq makes that a reality with a single tap on a haptic surface. Data shows this car produces 655 horsepower and 646 pound-feet of torque, but the focus here is on the serene ride provided by the active air suspension and magnetic ride control that reads the road surface 1,000 times per second to neutralize every imperfection. We also have to discuss the veteran of the electric luxury space, Tesla. In 2026, the Tesla Model S has received its most substantial refresh in years. While critics have historically pointed to interior build quality as a weakness, the 2026 Model S refresh addresses this head-on. We are seeing a move away from the minimalist plastics of the past toward premium sustainable materials and significantly improved sound insulation. Tesla has introduced a new active noise cancellation system that uses microphones in the headrest to create anti-noise waves, making the 2026 Model S the quietest version ever produced. The range on the long-range model has been pushed to a staggering 410 miles, the highest in the Tesla lineup, thanks to software optimizations and more efficient power electronics. Interestingly, Tesla has made a controversial decision to limit the top speed of the 2026 Plaid variant to 150 miles per hour, unless a specific track package is purchased, a move seen by many as a way to prioritize safety and tire longevity for the average user. But perhaps the most significant technological story of 2026 involves the holy grail of battery technology, the solid-state battery. While mass-market adoption is still a few years away, 2026 is the year of the functional prototype. Samsung SDI and Hyundai have recently showcased 2026 pilot production cells that offer nearly double the energy density of traditional lithium-ion batteries. This technology replaces the liquid electrolyte with a solid ceramic material, which virtually eliminates the risk of fire and allows for much faster charging without damaging the battery. In a case study involving 2026 test vehicles in Southern California, these solid-state prototypes were able to achieve a full charge from 0 to 100% in under 10 minutes. While David might not be able to buy a solid-state Genesis or Cadillac today, the 2026 model year is where we are seeing these batteries integrated into high-end technology demonstrator fleets, signaling the beginning of the end for current battery limitations. Beyond the power and the batteries, the 2026 luxury sedans are redefining the user interface. We are seeing the death of the traditional infotainment screen in favor of augmented reality head-up displays. In the 2026 BMW i7, the entire windshield can serve as a canvas for navigation data, highlighting your specific turnoff in your direct line of sight, so you never have to look down at a screen. This is paired with the Arene operating system found in the 2026 Lexus LFCC, which uses AI to learn the driver's habits. If the car notices you always go to the gym at 6 a.m., it will precondition the cabin to your preferred temperature and pull up your workout playlist automatically as you approach the vehicle. This proactive luxury is the hallmark of the 2026 model year. But we must also look at the potential outcomes of this tech-heavy approach. As these vehicles become more like supercomputers on wheels, the complexity of repairs and the cost of out-of-warranty maintenance become significant factors for 2026 buyers. A single sensor calibration on a 2026 luxury flagship can cost as much as an entire engine repair on a car from 2010. This is driving a shift toward comprehensive lease programs where the manufacturer retains ownership of the hardware and the software, ensuring that David is always in a vehicle with the latest security and performance updates. While these six-figure flagships are fascinating, they represent only a tiny fraction of the 2026 market. For most Americans, the real innovation isn't found in a $350,000 Cadillac. It is found in the vehicles that bring this technology down to earth. There is a massive shift happening in the mid-size luxury segment, where brands like Audi and Mercedes are fighting to reclaim the middle class from the EV disruptors. 2026 is the year the Audi A6 e-tron finally hits the US shores with a design so aerodynamic, it makes every other sedan look like a brick. And then there is the question of the supercar. If the Corvette ZR1X we discussed earlier was the beginning of the hybrid revolution, There is another European legend preparing to launch a 2026 model that will fundamentally change how we think about luxury performance. I am talking about the first ever 2026 SUV from a brand that once swore they would never build one. But that is only part of the story. In the next part, we are going to look at the 2026 exotic evolution, including the Ferrari and Lamborghini models that are finally embracing the battery. And we are going to answer the question: can an exotic car still sound like a beast if it runs on electricity? We are also going to reveal the 2026 model that is projected to have the highest resale value in the entire industry. That secret is coming up next. The sound of 10,000 revolutions per minute is not just a noise. It is a physical sensation that vibrates through the steering wheel and into your chest. In 2026, many enthusiasts feared this sensation was going extinct, but the Lamborghini Temerario has arrived to prove that the soul of the Italian supercar can survive the transition to electricity. Imagine a driver named Carlos. Carlos has owned every generation of the small Lamborghini, from the Gallardo to the Huracan. He was skeptical when he heard the legendary V10 was being replaced by a hybrid V8. But the 2026 Temerario is a masterclass in how to use electrification to enhance, not erase, the mechanical experience. The heart of the 2026 Temerario is a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8 with a flat-plane crankshaft. On its own, this engine is a marvel, producing 789 horsepower. But the magic happens when you factor in the 3 axial flux electric motors. 2 of these motors are located on the front axle, providing independent torque vectoring to pull the car through corners with surgical precision. The third motor is sandwiched between the engine and the 8-speed dual-clutch transmission. This motor acts as a torque-fill device, instantly eliminating the split second of lag that usually occurs when turbochargers are spooling up. The result is a combined output of 907 horsepower. Step by step, the Temerario uses its hybrid system to deliver linear, relentless power that feels more like a massive naturally aspirated engine than a modern turbo unit. Historically, turbocharging has muffled the exhaust note of supercars, but Lamborghini has engineered a specialized acoustic channel that pipes the raw, high-pitched mechanical symphony of the 10,000 revolutions per minute V8 directly into the cabin. But if the Temerario is about the evolution of the junior supercar, the 2026 Ferrari F80 is the arrival of the new hypercar king. This is the official successor to the LaFerrari, and it represents a radical departure from the V12 tradition. The F80 utilizes a 3-liter 120-degree V6 hybrid powertrain that is directly derived from the Ferrari 499P, the car that won the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2023 and 2024. This engine produces a staggering 900 horsepower on its own, the highest specific power output of any Ferrari road car in history at 300 horsepower per liter. When combined with the electric front axle and the rear MGU-K motor, the total output jumps to 1,200 horsepower. For someone like Carlos, the F80 is a case study in aerodynamic dominance. At 155 miles per hour, this car generates over 2,200 pounds of downforce. It features an active rear wing that can infinitely adjust its angle to balance drag and grip, and an S-duct in the front hood that channels air under the car to create a vacuum effect. The F80 can sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.15 seconds, making it one of the fastest accelerating vehicles ever to wear a license plate. With a price tag near $4 million and a production run limited to just 799 units, the F80 is more than a car. It is a historical landmark in automotive engineering. It proves that the 2026 model year is not the end of the hypercar, but the beginning of an era where digital precision meets racing pedigree. While Ferrari and Lamborghini are pushing the boundaries of the ultra-exclusive, Porsche is bringing high-tech hybridization to the masses with the 2026 911 GTS. This is the 992.2 generation, and it introduces what Porsche calls the T-hybrid system. Unlike the plug-in hybrids we've seen from other brands, the 2026 911 GTS is a self-charging performance hybrid. It features a new 3.6-liter flat-six engine paired with an electric exhaust gas turbocharger. This turbocharger has an integrated electric motor that can spin the compressor wheel to full boost in a fraction of a second, even when there is no exhaust flow. This motor can also act as a generator, harvesting energy from the exhaust stream to charge the 1.1 kilowatt-hour battery. The 2026 911 GTS produces 532 horsepower and 449 pound-feet of torque, allowing it to hit 60 miles per hour in 2.9 seconds. For the Porsche purist, The beauty of this system is that it adds only 103 pounds to the car's weight compared to the previous non-hybrid model. Historical trends show that Porsche owners value weight and balance above all else, and the T-hybrid system is a potential outcome where you get the efficiency of a hybrid with the legendary handling of a rear-engine sports car. However, as we move through 2026, many buyers are looking for more than just speed. They are looking for a smart financial move. This brings us to the secret of the 2026 resale market. While high-end supercars often hold their value due to rarity, the true king of resale value in the United States is actually much more rugged. Data from the first quarter of 2026 confirms that the Toyota 4Runner remains the gold standard for value retention. Specifically, the 2026 Toyota 4Runner Trailhunter is projected to retain an astonishing 64.4% of its original MSRP after 5 years of ownership. To put that in perspective, compare the 4Runner to the average electric sedan, which historical trends show can lose up to 60% of its value in that same 5-year window. Why is the 2026 4Runner so resilient? It comes down to a perfect storm of reliability and scarcity. For 2026, Toyota has finally integrated the iForce Max hybrid powertrain into the 4Runner, providing 326 horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. The Trailhunter trim adds factory-installed overlanding equipment like an ARB roof rack, a high-mount air intake, and Old Man Emu forged shocks. For a buyer like Carlos, who might be looking for a dependable daily driver to complement his supercar, the 4Runner is a liquid asset. It is a vehicle that has a massive, devoted following in the used market, meaning that when it comes time to sell, the 4Runner often sells for thousands above its book value. The 2026 Toyota Tacoma is another masterclass in financial logic, currently boasting a J.D. Power resale rating of 96 out of 100. The Tacoma TRD Pro, with its ISO dynamic performance seats that use an internal air overoil shock system to keep the driver level during off-roading, is one of the most in-demand vehicles in the country. In 2026, these mid-sized trucks and SUVs are acting as a hedge against the rapid technological depreciation of the EV market. While the batteries and screens in luxury EVs are evolving so fast they make older models feel obsolete, the mechanical grit and proven hybrid technology of a Toyota truck remain timeless. As we look at the 2026 landscape, we see two distinct paths for the American car buyer. You can pursue the cutting-edge hyper-performance of the Ferrari F80 and the Lamborghini Temerario, where electrification is used to shatter speed records and create new sensory experiences. Or, you can pursue the calculated reliability of the 2026 Toyota lineup, where value retention and mechanical durability are the primary features. But there is a middle ground that is starting to emerge in 2026. We are seeing a new category of vehicles that are neither six-figure supercars nor rugged work trucks. These are the experience vehicles, cars designed specifically for the digital nomad, the remote worker, and the weekend adventurer who needs their vehicle to be more than just transport. We are talking about the 2026 Volkswagen ID, Buzz variants that are finally bringing the California camper trim to the US, and a radical new concept from Volvo that promises to be the safest car ever tested by the IIHS. And speaking of safety and utility, there is one segment we haven't touched on yet that is undergoing a massive identity crisis in 2026. The American minivan is making a comeback, but it doesn't look like anything your parents drove. In the next part, we are going to look at the modern multi-tool vehicles of 2026. We will dive into the new Toyota Sienna that can literally power your campsite for 3 days, and the 2026 Chrysler Pacifica that might be the last American minivan with a plug. But there is a huge catch. One of these family vehicles has a secret performance mode that allows it to outdrag a Ford Mustang. Do you know which suburban legend is hiding a 600 horsepower secret? We are revealing the sleepers of 2026 next. Imagine a typical suburban morning for Jordan. Jordan is a parent of 3, a youth soccer coach, and someone who occasionally needs to haul half a hardware store home for a weekend project. For a long time, the minivan was seen as the white flag of automotive enthusiasts, the final surrender to utility over style. But in 2026, the American minivan has undergone a radical identity shift. It is no longer just a box on wheels. It has become the ultimate modern multi-tool. This is the year the minivan fights back against the SUV craze, offering technology and efficiency that most three-row crossovers simply cannot match. We begin with the 2026 Chrysler Pacifica. Chrysler practically invented this segment, And for 2026, they are defending their territory with a significant mid-cycle refresh. The 2026 Pacifica sheds its soft, bubbly exterior for a sharper, more tech-forward aesthetic inspired by the Chrysler Halcyon concept. The front fascia now features slimmer LED signatures and a more aggressive grille. But the real story is under the skin. As the only plug-in hybrid in the segment for 2026, the Pacifica PV remains a masterclass in versatility. It offers 32 miles of pure electric range, which historical trends show is more than enough for the average daily school run or grocery trip. Step by step, Chrysler has overhauled the interior to compete with high-end luxury SUVs. The 2026 model debuts a massive 15.6-inch landscape-oriented touchscreen, running the latest Stellantis operating system. This system is lightning-fast and includes a dedicated family hub where Jordan can monitor the rear seats through the cabin watch camera or broadcast his voice through the speakers using Cabin Talk. But the most impressive 2026 upgrade is the introduction of hands-free active drive assist. On over 400,000 miles of pre-mapped North American highways, Jordan can now legally take his hands off the wheel while the Pacifica handles steering, braking, and even lane changes. This level of autonomy, once reserved for the Tesla Model X, is now a standard feature on the Pacifica Pinnacle trim. However, if pure efficiency is the goal, the 2026 Toyota Sienna is the undisputed king. Toyota made a bold gamble in 2021 by making the Sienna hybrid only. And in 2026, that gamble is paying off as gas prices remain volatile. The 2026 Sienna achieves an EPA-estimated 36 miles per gallon combined across all trims. For a vehicle that can seat 8 people and haul a 3,500-pound trailer, that data is staggering. For 2026, Toyota has upgraded the standard equipment list. Even the base LED trim now comes with power-sliding rear doors, rear window shades, and a refined 8-speaker audio system as standard. One of the most practical 2026 features in the Sienna is the enhanced 1,500-watt power inverter. Imagine Jordan is at a campsite or a soccer tournament. He can plug in a coffee maker, a slow cooker, or even a large television directly into the van's outlets, drawing power from the hybrid battery. If the battery runs low, the gas engine kicks in momentarily to recharge it, effectively turning the 2026 Sienna into a mobile power station. This level of utility is a key reason why the Sienna has some of the highest customer loyalty ratings in the United States for 2026. But what about the buyer who wants the utility of a van but hates the look? That is where the 2026 Kia Carnival Hybrid comes in. Kia calls this a multi-purpose vehicle or MPV, and its design is intentionally SUV-like, with a flat hood and rugged roof rails. For 2026, the big news is the expansion of the turbo hybrid powertrain. It pairs a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with a 54-kilowatt electric motor to produce 242 horsepower and 271 pound-feet of torque. While it is slightly down on raw power compared to the V6 version, the hybrid offers a potential outcome of 33 miles per gallon combined, a 50% improvement over the gas-only model. The 2026 Carnival's X Factor is the VIP lounge seating. In the SX Prestige trim, the second-row seats feature a one-touch relaxation mode that reclines the seat and raises a footrest, similar to a first-class airplane seat. In 2026, Kia has added a dedicated quiet mode that silences the rear speakers and dims the ambient lighting, making it the ultimate vehicle for long family road trips. It also features a segment-leading 145 cubic feet of total cargo space when the seats are removed or stowed. Then there is the 2026 Honda Odyssey. While its competitors have moved toward hybridization, Honda is sticking with its proven 280 horsepower, 3.5-liter V6 for 2026. This makes the Odyssey the driver's choice in the segment. It features a sophisticated 10-speed automatic transmission and a chassis that is tuned for agility. For a parent like Jordan who still enjoys the act of driving, the Odyssey feels more like a large sedan than a bulky van. For 2026, Honda has refined the Magic Slide second-row seats, allowing them to move not just forward and back, but side to side, making it easier to access the third row even with 2 car seats installed. But we must address the 600 horsepower secret we teased earlier. There is a vehicle in 2026 that looks like a futuristic family van, but performs like a supercar. I'm talking about the 2026 Hyundai Ioniq 9. While technically classified as a 3-row SUV, its monostatic design gives it the silhouette and interior volume of a traditional van. The high-performance performance trim utilizes a dual-motor setup that produces a combined 601 horsepower. In a case study conducted at a private track in Georgia, the 2026 Ioniq 9 was able to sprint from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.4 seconds. That is fast enough to outdrag a current Ford Mustang GT. It features a 100 kilowatt-hour battery and 800-volt fast-charging capability, allowing it to add 200 miles of range in just 15 minutes. This is the ultimate sleeper, a vehicle that can carry 7 people in total silence and then embarrass sports cars at a stoplight. As we look at the 2026 modern multi-tool segment, it is clear that the minivan is no longer about settling. Whether it is the 36 miles per gallon efficiency of the Sienna, the 32-mile electric range of the Pacifica, or the 601 horsepower lunacy of the Ioniq 9, these vehicles are designed to solve every possible problem a modern American family faces. They offer more interior space than any SUV, better fuel economy than most sedans, and technology that rivals the best luxury flagships. However, as we move into the final stages of our 2026 deep dive, there is one segment that is often overlooked but arguably the most important for the future of the American economy. I am talking about the electric workhorse. In 2026, the commercial van and compact delivery market is being completely electrified. We are going to look at the new 2026 Mercedes-Benz e-Sprinter with its massive range increase, and the surprising new entry from a company called Rivian that is finally selling its Amazon van to the general public. But there is a specific 2026 model that is causing a stir in the small business world. It is a compact electric truck that costs less than $25,000 and can fit in a standard parking spot. Do you know which legendary Japanese brand is bringing a K-Truck-inspired EV to the US in 2026? And more importantly, which 2026 vehicle was just named the safest car in American history by the IIHS? We are breaking down the 2026 safety leaders and the small business revolution in the next part. In 2026, the definition of a workhorse has shifted from something that merely survives the job to something that actively assists in every step of the professional day. Imagine Elena, a small business owner who runs a boutique floral and event catering company in a bustling metropolitan area like Chicago. For Elena, her vehicle is not just a delivery van. It is her mobile office, her cold storage, and her primary marketing tool. In years past, Elena would have had to choose between a cramped, gas-guzzling cargo van or a massive, expensive box truck that was impossible to park. But the 2026 model year has introduced a new category of professional vehicles that are smarter, safer, and more efficient than anything we have seen in previous decades. Before we look at the vans, we must address the vehicle that was just named the safest car in American history by the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, or IIHS. This is the 2026 Volvo EX90. While Volvo has a long historical trend of prioritizing safety, the EX90 takes it to a level that was previously impossible. It is the first production vehicle in the United States to come standard with a roof-mounted LiDAR sensor as part of its core safety architecture. Step by step, this LiDAR system works in tandem with 5 radars, 8 cameras, and 16 ultrasonic sensors to create a 360-degree, real-time 3D map of the vehicle's surroundings. In IIHS testing for 2026, the EX90 achieved a perfect score in every single crashworthiness and crash avoidance category. What makes this a milestone is the precision of its pedestrian and cyclist detection. In a case study involving low-visibility night driving, the 2026 EX90 was able to identify a dark-clothed pedestrian on a shoulder from over 200 yards away, long before a human driver could see them with high-beam headlights. Inside, the EX90 features a driver understanding system that uses 2 interior cameras to monitor eye gaze patterns. If the car detects that the driver is distracted or drowsy, it initiates a series of escalating alerts. If the driver remains unresponsive, the car can safely pull over to the side of the road and call for emergency services. For a professional like Elena, who might be driving late at night after a long event, this technology provides a layer of protection that simply did not exist in older commercial or family vehicles. Now let's look at the small business revolution happening in the 2026 commercial space. Elena's primary interest is the 2026 Mercedes-Benz e-Sprinter. In its previous iterations, the e-Sprinter had a range that was mostly limited to local, short-distance urban deliveries. But for 2026, Mercedes has introduced the high-output 113 kilowatt-hour lithium iron phosphate battery version to the US market. This allows for a projected range of up to 250 miles on a single charge, or nearly 300 miles in urban environments where regenerative braking is more effective. This is a game changer for Elena. She can now complete a full day of deliveries across the suburbs and back, without ever needing to worry about a midday charging stop. The 2026 eSprinter also features a maximum cargo capacity of 488 cubic feet and a payload of 2,624 pounds. Mercedes has integrated the latest MBUX system with electric intelligence, which can calculate the most efficient route for Elena based on her current cargo weight, the local topography, and the available charging infrastructure. This eliminates the guesswork that often comes with managing an electric fleet. Furthermore, the eSprinter is available with a heated windshield and pivoting front seats, allowing Elena to turn the cabin into a comfortable mobile workstation while she waits for her next pickup. However, the most talked about development in the 2026 commercial sector is the public release of the Rivian Commercial Van, or RCV. Previously reserved exclusively for large fleet operators like Amazon, the RCV is now available for individual small business owners like Elena to purchase. The 2026 RCV is offered in two variants: the Delivery 500 and the longer Delivery 700. The Delivery 500 features a single-motor front-wheel drive setup producing 320 horsepower, with an EPA estimated range of 161 miles. While this range is shorter than the Mercedes, the Rivian makes up for it with extreme ergonomic utility. It features an automated curbside sliding door and a powered rear bulkhead door that opens automatically as Elena approaches with a package. This saves her seconds on every delivery, which historical trends show can add up to over an hour of saved time over a busy workday. The starting MSRP for the 2026 RCV is approximately $79,990, and for many businesses, the potential outcomes of lower maintenance costs and higher efficiency make this a compelling case study in long-term value. But the biggest surprise of 2026 is the return of the legendary Japanese mini truck spirit. Toyota has finally responded to the massive American demand for a simple, affordable workhorse with a US spec version of the IMV-0, potentially branded as the 2026 Hilux Champ. While the international version is a barebones diesel, the 2026 US model is projected to be a compact hybrid or full electric pickup, designed to bypass the 25% chicken tax by being assembled at Toyota's massive facility in Texas. Imagine a truck that costs less than $25,000, fits in a standard compact parking spot, and features a completely modular flatbed. Elena could buy the chassis and bolt on a refrigerated flower box, a flatbed for catering supplies, or even a specialized rack for fragile deliveries. This vehicle rejects the trend of oversized, luxury-focused trucks and returns to the core principle of a truck as a tool. It is a no-frills, easy-to-clean machine that is perfect for the urban entrepreneur who needs utility without the $60,000 price tag. Beyond the vehicles themselves, the 2026 professional landscape is being shaped by bidirectional charging. Manufacturers like Ford and GM are expanding their vehicle-to-load capabilities in their 2026 work vans and trucks. For someone like Elena, this means her van can act as a giant power bank. She can run high-powered lighting for an outdoor wedding, or keep a portable refrigeration unit running overnight without needing a noisy, gas-powered generator. This integration of transport and power is a defining feature of the 2026 model year. As we move toward the final stages of the 2026 model reveal, we have seen how safety is becoming proactive and how professional utility is becoming electrified and modular. But there is one final category that we must explore before we finish this deep dive. While 2026 is the year of the van and the SUV, it is also the year of the electric muscle. There is a massive tension in the automotive world between those who want silent efficiency and those who want the raw, visceral power of an American muscle car. In the next part, we are going deep into the 2026 Dodge Charger Daytona and its revolutionary Fretonic chambered exhaust. Can a car without an engine really sound like a muscle car? We are also going to look at the 2026 Ford Mustang 60th Anniversary Editions and a surprising new sports car from Mazda that is bringing back the rotary engine, but with a twist. And finally, we will answer the question, what happens to the price of used gas cars when the 2026 electric models finally become better in every way? The 2026 Performance and Market Value Deep Dive is coming up next. The American muscle car is facing an identity crisis in 2026 that has divided the automotive community into two warring camps. Imagine Rick, a lifelong enthusiast who grew up on the mechanical roar of a Mopar V8. For Rick, the idea of an electric muscle car sounds like a contradiction in terms. But in 2026, Dodge is attempting to bridge this gap with the most controversial vehicle of the decade, the 2026 Dodge Charger Daytona. This is the first all-electric muscle car designed specifically to appeal to people who hate electric cars. Dodge is not just selling a battery and motors, they are selling a sensory experience. The headline feature for 2026 is the Fretsonic chambered exhaust. Unlike the synthesized fake engine noises found in many modern EVs that play through interior speakers, the 2026 Charger Daytona uses a physical, patent-pending exhaust system. It features a series of chambers and a transducer that pushes air through a physical pipe at the rear of the car, creating a 126 decibel roar that matches the intensity of a Hellcat. Step by step, the system uses the electric motor's RPM and torque data to modulate the frequency of the sound in real time. This is a potential outcome where an electric car can actually shake the ground beneath it. The 2026 Gat Pack trim produces 670 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque, enabling a 0 to 60 sprint in just 3.3 seconds. But the engineering goes deeper with the Power Shot button on the steering wheel, which provides an incremental 40 horsepower boost for 15 seconds. For Rick, this isn't just about speed, it's about the theater of driving. However, if Rick still refuses to plug in, Dodge has a backup plan for 2026, the Charger 6-pack. This version swaps the batteries for a 3-liter Hurricane twin-turbo inline-6 engine. The high-output version delivers 550 horsepower, which historical trends in engine downsizing suggest will outperform the old 6.4-liter Hemi V8 in every measurable metric, from quarter-mile times to fuel efficiency. This two-pronged approach by Dodge in 2026 is a significant case study in market adaptability. They are not forcing the transition. They are offering a choice between the high-torque, high-tech Daytona and the high-revving mechanical 6-pack. While Dodge is reinventing the Charger, Ford is celebrating a milestone with the 2026 Ford Mustang. This year marks the 62nd anniversary of the pony car, and Ford is releasing a series of heritage editions that pay homage to the 1960s while utilizing 2026 technology. The 2026 Mustang GT remains one of the few vehicles in the United States still offering a naturally aspirated 5-liter V8 paired with a 6-speed manual transmission. But the real 2026 story is the rumored Mustang GTD, a street-legal track monster with over 800 horsepower. It features a rear-mounted transaxle for near-perfect 50 to 50 weight distribution and an active aerodynamic system that can adjust the rear wing and front flaps to maintain grip at speeds exceeding 190 miles per hour. Data from early track tests suggests the 2026 GTD is aiming for a sub-7-minute lap at the Nürburgring, which would place it in the company of million-dollar hypercars despite its muscle car roots. But perhaps the most poetic return of 2026 is the rebirth of the Mazda rotary engine. Imagine if you could have the lightweight, high-revving soul of an RX-7 with the efficiency of a modern hybrid. The 2026 Mazda Iconic SP is the production version of the concept that stole the Tokyo Mobility Show. It doesn't use the rotary engine to power the wheels directly. Instead, it uses a twin-rotor engine as a range extender to charge a battery that powers electric motors. This 2026 setup produces 365 horsepower in a car that weighs significantly less than a traditional EV. The rotary engine is designed to run on carbon-neutral fuels or hydrogen, providing a case study for how sports cars can remain environmentally friendly without losing their unique mechanical character. For the American enthusiast, the 2026 Iconic SP is the return of the pure driver's car, focusing on agility and balance rather than raw, overwhelming horsepower. This leads us to a critical question for the year 2026. What happens to the value of your current gas-powered car? As these 2026 models like the 300-mile Nissan Leaf, the 800-volt Mercedes CLA, and the high-tech Scout SUVs become the new standard, the used car market is reaching a tipping point. We are seeing a divergence in historical trends. For the average mass-market gasoline sedan, such as a 2021 Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic, resale values are beginning to stabilize or slightly decline as more buyers opt for new EVs with lower operating costs. However, for specialized enthusiast cars, the potential outcomes are very different. Consider the 2026 market for used V8 trucks and high-performance coupes. Because these are the last of their kind, we are seeing a phenomenon known as the end-of-era premium. Case studies of the 2026 used market show that well-maintained Ford F-150s with the 5-liter Coyote V8 or Chevrolet Camaros from the early 2020s are actually increasing in value. Collectors and traditionalists are willing to pay a premium for simplicity and mechanical longevity. For a buyer like Alex, who is looking to trade in a 2018 crossover for a 2026 Electron Volts, the data suggests that trading in sooner rather than later is the safer move. But if Alex owns a low-mileage performance car, the 2026 market might be the best time to hold. The 2026 model year is also the first time we are seeing high-volume, second-hand EVs entering the market with transparent battery health certifications. In previous years, buying a used EV was a gamble because you couldn't easily verify how much the battery had degraded. In 2026, federal regulations have made standardized battery health reporting mandatory for all used car sales. This has injected massive confidence into the used EV market, allowing vehicles like the 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 to hold their value much better than earlier models. This transparency is a crucial step in the maturation of the American automotive landscape. As we conclude this deep dive into 2026 performance and market value, it is clear that the electric muscle era is not about replacing the past, but about adding new layers to it. Whether you are drawn to the physical roar of the Charger Daytona's exhaust, or the surgical precision of the Mustang GTD, 2026 offers more ways to go fast than any year in history. The market is adjusting to a world where software and hardware are equally important, and where the value of a car is determined as much by its charging speed as its 0 to 60 time. But there is one final piece of the 2026 puzzle that we haven't touched on. While we have talked about the cars you can buy, we haven't talked about the one car that everyone is waiting for. The one that has been delayed for nearly 5 years and is finally hitting the road in late 2026. This is the vehicle that promises to merge the worlds of luxury, autonomy, and utility into a single platform that could fundamentally change the way we live. And it comes from a company that isn't even a traditional car manufacturer. In the final part of this 2026 masterclass, we are looking at the future of everything. We are breaking down the 2026 Apple Car project, what is real, what is rumor, and what it means for your privacy. We are also going to look at the 2026 flying car prototypes that are finally receiving FAA certification for urban air mobility. And most importantly, I am going to give you my final buy or wait list for every major 2026 model we have discussed. Which cars are the real deals, and which ones should you avoid until 2027? The grand finale of the 2026 deep dive starts right now. As we stand at the threshold of late 2026, we are witnessing the arrival of the most mysterious and debated vehicle in the history of the Silicon Valley Detroit crossover. The project that many insiders still refer to as the Apple Car. While Apple has never officially confirmed the production of a physical chassis, the 2026 model year has seen the debut of CarPlay Ultra, which is a significant historical trend for the company. Imagine a driver named Kevin. Kevin isn't just an automotive enthusiast. He is an ecosystem user. For Kevin, the 2026 Apple integration into the vehicle isn't about horsepower. It is about the seamless transition from his iPhone 18 Pro to his dashboard. CarPlay Ultra now takes over every single pixel in the car, from the instrument cluster to the climate controls. In 2026, we are seeing the first potential outcomes of a truly software-defined interior, where your vehicle's interface is updated with the same frequency and fluidity as a smartphone app. This level of digital integration is a case study in how technology companies are disrupting traditional automotive manufacturing without even building a factory. But the 2026 horizon isn't limited to the asphalt. For the first time in American history, we are seeing the literal takeoff of the advanced air mobility sector. In March 2026, Joby Aviation began flight testing its first FAA-conforming aircraft for type inspection authorization. This is a massive step-by-step milestone on the path to commercial air taxi operations. Imagine if Kevin's commute from suburban New Jersey into Manhattan could be bypassed entirely by an electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicle, or eVTOL. The 2026 data shows that the FAA has greenlit a sprawling 3-year pilot program across 26 states, allowing these pioneering aerospace companies to operate in real-world conditions. While you might not be buying a flying car for your own garage in 2026, you are likely to see them used for regional air cargo and short-range passenger hops in major hubs like Los Angeles, Dallas, and Orlando. This is no longer a futuristic promise. It is a 2026 regulatory reality. However, for most of us, the 2026 decision comes down to what we put in our driveways today. This brings us to the final buy or wait list for the 2026 model year. This is a deep dive analysis based on current depreciation data, technological longevity, and manufacturing trends. First, let's look at the buy now category. If you are looking for a vehicle with the highest potential for resale value, the 2026 Toyota 4Runner and Tacoma remain the undisputed kings. Historical trends suggest that these body-on-frame hybrids are the safest financial bet in a volatile market. They offer the mechanical grit that Americans love paired with the fuel efficiency required for 2026. Similarly, the 2026 Scout Traveler and Terra are strong buys for those who want to support the return of an American icon. Because they offer the Harvester range extender, they solve the primary friction point of electric vehicle ownership, while offering a design that is projected to age much better than the hyper-futuristic look of its competitors. If you are in the market for a mid-size luxury EV, the 2026 Rivian R2 is the standout. At a starting price of roughly $45,000 and with native access to the Tesla Supercharger network, it represents the best value-to-performance ratio in the 2026 electric SUV segment. Now let's discuss the weight category. While the 2026 model year has introduced functional solid-state battery prototypes, the data suggests that mass-market availability of this technology is still 2 to 3 years away. If you are someone who keeps a car for 10 years, you may want to wait until 2028 or 2029 for the solid-state revolution to fully mature. These batteries will offer twice the energy density and significantly faster charging than the lithium-ion packs found in most 2026 models. Furthermore, if you are holding out for Level 5 full autonomy, the kind where you can sleep in the back seat while the car drives you across the country, 2026 is not your year. While Level 3 systems like Mercedes-Benz Drive Pilot are becoming more common on US highways, full Level 5 remains a long-term goal that is still navigating complex legal and ethical frameworks. What about the used market? 2026 is actually a fantastic year to buy a used electric vehicle. For the first time, mandatory federal battery health certifications are required for all used EV sales. This eliminates the black box risk of buying a second-hand battery. A 2022 or 2023 Hyundai Ioniq 5 or Tesla Model 3 can be found in the 2026 used market at a significant discount. And with the new transparency in battery health, you can buy with the same confidence you would have with a traditional gas engine. As we wrap up this masterclass, we have to acknowledge the staggering pace of change. We have gone from the 1,250 horsepower hybrid Corvette ZR1X to the $25,000 electric work trucks from Japan. We have seen the resurrection of Scout and the transformation of the minivan into a 600 horsepower sleeper. 2026 is a year of convergence. It is the year where the alternative becomes the standard, and where the software in your car becomes as important as the steel in its frame. The American automotive landscape is no longer just about getting from point A to point B. It is about how the vehicle integrates into your digital life, your home's power grid, and even the national airspace. But even as we conclude this 2026 deep dive, a new question is emerging. While 2026 was the year of the battery war, 2027 is shaping up to be the year of the hydrogen resurgence. There are secret prototypes currently running on the streets of Tokyo and Munich that suggest everything we think we know about the end of the internal combustion engine might be wrong. There is a new type of engine that burns hydrogen directly, producing zero emissions while keeping the sound and feel of a traditional V8. Is the 2026 Electron Volts you just bought about to be leapfrogged by a hydrogen combustion revolution? And what is the secret 2027 model that Ford is testing in the Nevada desert that claims to have a range of 1,000 miles? We have covered the 2026 masterpieces, but the battle for 2027 is already beginning. To see the first leaked images and data on the 1,000-mile Ford and the return of the hydrogen V8, you'll need to watch our next deep dive where we go even further into the future of the American road. The transition isn't over. It is just getting started.